I just hope these coppers can work out who's done it, otherwise none of us are going to be able to sleep in our beds tonight.
There is something rotten in the state of Finkelton's Pole.
Something very, very rotten.
Best time to the members of the Power Cake players. Tonight, an horrific murder took place in the theatre building, and two of you.
Oh, yes, definitely. Two of you.
Yes, as I was saying before being rudely interrupted, two of you sitting here before us are guilty of this hideous crime. The acting profession is notorious for attracting charlatans, show-offs and ne'er-do-wells. But the Powder Cake players, I feel, have brought their craft to new depths of depravity. All of you have shown selfishness, lies and deceit, but who killed Mr. Valentine and why?
That is the question. Who was it?
Two attempts were made on Mr. Valentine's life here this evening from two separate suspects working independently. Firstly, a prop knife was switched backstage. The culprit for this deed had to have known that the knife was going to be used on stage.
Could it have been Gloria if Ralph didn't intervene? Was she the target?
Oh, of course not. Our would-be murderer knew exactly what they were doing. That person had to have been someone closely connected to the Powder Cake players. Someone who knew all about the plot of A Stab in the Dark and the running of the production. Thus the person who switched the knife in order to kill Mr. Valentine had to have either been Renee, Prudence, Russell or Gloria.
Definitely. No doubt about it.
I said earlier that I had little to do with acting and no knowledge of not talking this play.
Yet this attempt, though devastating, proved unsuccessful. Indeed, though badly hurt, Ralph Valentine would have continued to tread the boards for many years to come had not another dark agent intervened. This individual seized an impromptu moment to give him his final curtain call as he lay wounded outside the Footlights Theatre here tonight.
A dastardly crime on an already injured man. Hard to believe the callousness of the saint.
Well, I was ringing for an ambulance.
And I was also trying to clean up.
Correct, and a trifle convenient. So the person who actually murdered Mr. Valentine had to have been one of the three of you who attended him outside the theatre.
Definitely had to be Prudence, Marjorie, or Russell. One of you did the business.
There's no business like show business.
Miss Gibbs, would you like to explain this?
What? Where did you? How did you?
My officers retrieved it from your locker in the cloakroom just now, after you retrieved it from under the stage floor right there.
I thought I caught Renee expressing a little bit too much interest in the exploring of this theatre.
Desperate for that first opportunity when she was left alone in here. Would you like to tell us about this bag?
And what it contains?
It's a hold full of money. This money was stolen during the body's robbery all those years ago.
£20,000 to be precise.
We mixed it up with some newspapers to create a smoke screen. The rest of it was hidden in here. A mostly empty building. It was an obvious choice. I broke in and stashed it below the stage 4 years ago now.
So devious.
So you see, the polite Finkelton Fold postwoman, the kind-hearted stage manager, turned out to be a convicted criminal, interested more in personal profit than amateur dramatics. Although many years ago I recognised you immediately, and the story that you were given a new identity didn't ring true.
I didn't believe that either. We're very astute in the force, you know.
I wasn't sure that you believed it, but it was worth a try. Can you blame me? All that money, who could resist it? I thought enough time had gone by, and no one would remember me, and I'd have time to retrieve it. I did like the play though. I wouldn't have let you all down, and I didn't kill Mr. Valentine.
No, Miss Gibbs, or should I say Teddy Wally, you did not commit murder. Getting your hands on this money was your only motive. You had no history of Mr. Valentine. Although you hadn't been so distracted by greed and intended the props efficiently, the stabbing could have been prevented. The money in the holder will be returned to the bank tomorrow morning at the same time that you, Miss Gibbs, will report to Pickerton Fold Police Station to answer questions relating to that robbery. So you see, Miss Tubbs, Miss Gibbs never took your offer seriously. She was far too interested in a money-making scheme of her own to contemplate taking you up on your generous offer.
Yes, I see that now. I'm sorry.
And so to you next, Miss Tubbs. It is my opinion that your business dealings are underhand, self-centered and immoral, yet, strictly speaking now, not illegal. You have conducted yourself poorly using blackmail and threatening behaviour, trying to exploit Miss Gibbs.
I apologise. I know it's a shame to me.
Yet, you did indeed attempt to save Mr. Valentine's life as you waited for the ambulance. You realised that you'd rather deal with Mr. Valentine than with the real holder of the lease, your arch enemy, Derek Drinkwater from Firm Holdings. You have no motive for wanting Valentine dead, whatever Mr. Morier may have accused.
Of course, next to Derek Drinkwater, Ralph was a pushover. It was Ralph I needed to convince. Having a bottle of paracetamol in my pocket, as I said earlier, is not a crime. Valentine was bleeding. It was the only thing that I could think of to help gain a few precious seconds.
Indeed. And due to that medical training you told us of earlier, you would have kept Mr. Valentine alive, had another foul agent not been at work. Disappointingly for you, following the demise of Mr. Valentine, the lease will indeed return to the hands of Mr. Drinkwater. I think that in terms of you owning theatre, your number's well and truly up.
Oh yes, you've really cooked your goose, lady.
Very droll. I won't be sorry if I never set foot inside this fusty old building ever again.
And rest assured, Miss Tubbs, that our local police force will be keeping a close eye on all your subsequent business dealings. Which leaves us with just 3 suspects for tonight's crime. Prudence and Russell Morier and Gloria Sunshine, and an interesting trio you made too. A tangled web of thwarted ambition, confused family loyalty and messy love affairs. But which one of you switched the knife backstage? And who administered that fatal insulin injection to Mr. Valentine? No wonder the cause of death was so hard to determine. The laboratory reports finally confirmed that the cause of death was a drug overdose delivered by a small needle into the thigh, administered outside the theatre when the ambulance was on its way. Mr. de Maurier, you lied to me on a number of occasions.
You've been caught out, Mr. de Maurier. We police officers are very astute, you know. We can wheedle out lies.
I know I lied, but I have my reasons.
You made this investigation very perplexing indeed. Admittedly, in the confused days, you lied about going to the Spinners public house for a drink. Witnesses confirmed you hadn't actually gone to the Spinners. Strangely, you tried to numb your pain by drugging the whiskey that was used in the play.
Drugging alcohol is not advisable.
Yes, exactly. So, Miss Sunshine explained this contained only apple juice. You also lied about your feelings for Miss Sunshine. Mr. de Maurier, if you weren't in the Spinners this evening, would you tell us where you were?
I went to the cloakroom. I went to talk to Gloria.
And after overhearing a rather upsetting conversation between your parents, you ran off like a lovesick schoolboy looking for sympathy. And also, to tell tales.
I can't stand telltales. Well, except when they tell us, of course.
We know you have feelings for Gloria, Mr. de Maurier. To curry favour, you told her precisely what Mr. Valentine thought of her. That she was being used as an idle plaything and, more damaging, that he thought she had little or no acting talent.
The monster, it's not true.
In our interview, Gloria sarcastically used the very words that Mr. de Maurier overheard as Valentine spoke to Prudence. stepping stone, plaything. You'd obviously met up to conspire. And it was this conversation between our lovesick puppy and the sappy starlet that fueled Miss Sunshine's rage. How dare Valentine reject you and insult your talent? He even lied to Gloria when she confronted him directly. Miss Sunshine wanted instant revenge. You thought Gloria had fallen into your arms, didn't you, Mr. D'Amoria?
If only life was so simple.
I suppose I did think she'd turn to me, but all she did was run off to the kitchen. She was hysterical. I followed her and she locked the door behind us. My mother tried to get in to sort her out, but she didn't actually see me.
So why all the deceit, Mr. D'Amoria?
I was confused. I just found out who my real father was. I wasn't thinking straight. And I have to admit it, I was attracted to Gloria. I told her what Valentine said, hoping that she'll turn to me. But it had the opposite effect. You see, she was so upset. She was so innocent, so gentle. I then lied to protect her. I didn't think she would kill someone, but, oh, she's so gentle. But I don't think so now.
Hell hath no fury, eh, Mr. D'Amoria? Isn't that Shakespeare, Miss Sunshine?
I don't know.
No, but then you don't actually know a great deal about theatre, do you? Instead of accepting the comfort from Mr. D'Amoria, you became instantly jealous, didn't you, Miss Sunshine? Your sweetheart Russell's father had betrayed you just like he betrayed Prunus all those years before. What was worse, he didn't even rate your acting talent. He was just using you as his little puppet, his little plaything. He even lied to you when you challenged him, and that was the final straw. So once you composed yourself, it was you who had him stabbed. Indeed, it must have been your only good performance to date, to show such cruelty whilst maintaining an air of grace and calm.
Is it true, Gloria? It's all lies, isn't it? It's all lies.
Miss Sunshine, you lied to me about your involvement with Mr. Valentine, in the same way that you lie about not touching the theatrical props. You helped Rene set up for the second run. The kitchen was the perfect place to find a knife, and you picked one up on the draining board again. You knew what happened in the scene, so you swapped the knives backstage. Rene couldn't remember setting the props herself.
That's right. I am sorry.
Gloria, Ralph was my father. How could you?
Yeah, how could you?
He deserves everything he got.
My officers found the prop knife backstage, hidden behind the lighting bulb.
I deserve too much on my mind to notice.
Things were relatively easy from then on. Miss Sunshine returned to the rehearsal room, perfectly happy to reenact the murder scene. At the appropriate moment, knowing what was about to happen, she cunningly persuaded Mr. Valentine to take on the role of Alice. Mr. Valentine unfortunately fell for her mock vulnerability.
It would appear that my role as a tragic heroine was my finest hour. To rob me of an encore now is sheer barbarism.
I'm sorry, Inspector Anygood. I got carried away in the play. I imagined I was killing him. For real, in the play. I used my acting to hurt him. I used it for how he neglected me for all those years. As I said earlier, I wanted to get to know him. And even forgive him. I meant to, but the emotions just took control of me, and in the dress rehearsal I wanted to make it more real. I thrust the knife with intent, but I never meant to.
I understand, Mr. D'Amoria. Hollywood actors call that method acting. You were fooled by a manipulative woman, that's all. You didn't know the knife you were using was real, and yes, you did say you could consider forgiving your father if you ever found out who he was. Thus you too had no motive for wanting him dead. You wanted him alive, to see if there was a relationship to salvage.
I don't know what to say. There's more menace in here than in a tragic play.
Reality is often more evil than fiction. The things we see daily in our role as police officers, you wouldn't believe.
Oh, I can believe it.
Congratulations, Miss Sunshine. You've finally got your wish to be famous after all. Yet, I'm not so sure it's the kind of publicity you crave.
Your smug sense of irony nauseates me, Mr. Angered. I wonder how long it will be before Hollywood comes begging me for my story.
More like you'll be begging incognito when Frankfurt and Bold courts send you away for years. You're nothing but a prim-top prima donna who tried to kill my father.
You're a thoroughly bad lot, Miss Sunshine. You deserve to go down for a very long time.
Hang on a minute. You said that the stabbing only wounded her, but it was an injection that killed her.
Very true. It was. An injection of insulin administered by His Excellent Prudence. Mr. Morier, do you care to explain your actions?
Why don't you entertain us, Mr. Angood? You seem to have all the answers. The centre stage is yours.
You have many motives for killing Mr. Valentine. You're a vain lady, Mr. Morier, and he called you old. He didn't give you the part you wanted in the play, and he abandoned you all those years ago as a child. All of these are logical explanations in themselves. Yet the real reason you killed Mr. Valentine is for your son, Russell.
Me?
You love your son dearly, don't you?
Of course I do.
Yes, over and over again, you kept telling everyone, I've always put my boy first. You said, I'll do anything to make sure he makes it. So you killed Mr. Valentine to ensure his only son's prosperity, especially seeing as Russell had recently become unemployed. Here we have poor Russell struggling through life, when all along his biological father is surrounded by huge wealth.
So she planned to kill the lot.
No, quite the opposite. Tonight's events were a shock, a real shock to her, to the man she once loved. Yet also a mouth-watering opportunity. A single chance presented itself on a plate. Mr. Morier said that she was not a brave woman, yet here was Valentine in front of her, fighting for life.
Moving on, thanks to me.
He owed me. A lifetime I've wasted following that man, giving everything to him, indeed, growing old alongside him. I'd no idea I was so disposable, like his plastic. In a moment of clarity, I figured that my life had passed me by fruitlessly. But it also figured that I was owed recompense. I'd struggled for Ralph. I'd acted for him and I'd kept his dark little secrets. It's too late for me to benefit from him. But I felt Russell deserved the break I was robbed of. I thought I could get away with it too as he slumped over outside.
In a split second of cowardly improvisation, you stepped out from the role of being a mere understudy.
You've definitely got the Lady Rowan murder now.
You'd have been happy to let me swing for this, wouldn't you? You tried to put the noose around the neck of the gnarled hands of the hangman.
Oh, spare us the bad acting, Gloria!
Indeed. We've seen more than enough of that this evening. So, with Mr. Valentine feebly clinging to life, you ran to get your jacket, the very one you're wearing now. Norbert, search your pockets.
Well, what have we got here?
Her insulin supply. So you escorted Mr. Valentine outside, conveniently letting Russell take most of Mr. Valentine's weight and trying to fight off Miss Tubbs. Then outside this building, you secretly administered the lethal dose of insulin into his bloodstream. The lab report showed that a massive quantity was administered. Congratulations, Mr. Morier. Your final performance for the powder cake play was indeed a genuine showstopper. And now, with more than a hint of irony, you, Russell de Morier, as Valentine's only living relative, inherit his entire estate. You're now a very wealthy young man.
I don't know what to say. I never meant for any of this. I just wanted to play footy. I'm in an amateur drama group, so I'm just full of sagging morals and punched egos.
I think you can save your forthcoming speeches for prison visiting day. Your dual logs will last far into the future. Miss Gloria Sunshine, you are guilty of orchestrating the stabbing of Ralph Valentine, but it is in fact Miss Prudence de Morier who is guilty of his murder.
Such a cold and hard Paris women. Bear makes me shudder, so it does.
You two ladies can now rehearse your next big performances in court. I can't say I'll be sorry to step out of the spotlight and leave behind this sinister pantomime. Norbad, if you be so kind as to get the money, I'll see you back down the station.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that might be the end of the murder mystery, but it's not the end of the long-standing animosity between Gloria and Prudence. Oh no, it doesn't end there. Before they're taken away to face the consequences of their actions, they will continue to try and outdo each other on the dance floor. Sparks will fly and Russell will try and mediate and keep the peace, but this could end badly.
Athletics and medical weighing machine are part of a feminine daily routine for once. And oceans of lotions and potions you take to keep that old something or other away, why not? Even after you grow old, baby, you don't have to be a cold baby. Keep young and beautiful. If you do beautiful, keep young and beautiful. If you wanna be loved, don't fail to do yourself with a little power and a puff. Keep young and beautiful. If you wanna be loved, if you wanna be loved, take it off for the heel over there. When you're sitting anywhere with your hat off, have a permanent flag in your hair. Take care of all those charms, and you'll always be yourself.
Before we go, thank you all very much for coming and supporting us this evening. We hope you've enjoyed it as much as we did.